Hello and welcome to Producing with Jimmy. I'm Jimmy and this is the channel where we discuss all things creative because creativity is a way of life. Subscribe and hit the bell notification if you like this video and want to see this channel grow. Today I am talking about one of my favorite parts about producing music. And I'm talking about the part at the end. The part where the project is 90% there, where the meat of it is done, if you will. It's just that nice marbled ribeye steak is sizzling on the pan and it's getting ready for plating. But it's just missing that secret sauce. That's my favorite part of producing. Adding that environment, adding that je ne sais quoi, those seasonings, those unexpected delights, okay? That's what we're talking about today. Are you ready? Let's go. So this past week I've been working on some of my own tracks, getting them ready to add the final vocal. And as I said, they're 90% done. I'm at the part of the process where I'm adding in the fun stuff, the environment, the emotional textures, things that are going to pull this arrangement into focus, emotionally speaking, right? If you haven't watched my video on arranging yet, I encourage you to do so. There's a lot of really good stuff in there. So let's take a listen here. I'm going to mute everything that I did yesterday and break it down for you one track at a time and kind of show you what I added. Nothing has been mixed here, okay? There might be some balance issues here and there depending on how you're listening. God forbid you're listening on your cell phone right now. Throw some headphones in, you know? Put them up on your studio monitors. We're engineers, we're producers. This is our world. Listen to this stuff from that perspective. I'm also not gonna let you hear my scratch tracking vocal, okay? That's private, okay? That's a bridge too far, too vulnerable, too much. So that's me muted as well. I can't do it. So here's the second chorus of the song. In many ways, for this particular song, this is the biggest chorus, okay? So here it is without anything, just the meat of the arrangement. The driving instrument, and the support, right? So in this case, it's an acoustic guitar, a bass, and a live drum kit. Let's check it out. So that sounds pretty good already. It's 90% there. You've got an arrangement that is welcoming to a vocal, something you want to sing over because it's clean, it's rhythmically well played, and it's decently balanced. This is the point in the process where you need to be listening for things that aren't there. That means you're indulging your imagination. You're listening and you're trying to enter into the headspace of somebody that isn't you, that's hearing the song for the first time and is being guided through the emotions of the song. Only you can decide what those emotional beats are, and your imagination is the key to that. So you're listening for things that aren't there with an ear for texture, volume, rhythmic density, emotion, and you're trying to pull out of nowhere things that are going to enhance the song emotionally. And a good rule of thumb is that you're not going to add what's already there, right? Which sounds really basic, but it's easy to overlook. So, the first thing that I added here was a pad. And pads are really good at adding that kind of atmosphere that glues a song together. And it's really good practice to make sure that your pad moves with the chord progressions. Because in the world of digital audio creation, it's really easy to be passionately seduced by a sound just by pressing it down on the keyboard and being like, oh, you're kind of so enchanted by it that you forget to make it move. Make your pads move. Let's hear that chorus with that pad I added. Kind of a bell atmospheric sound. It's moving with the melody that the guitar is hinting at, they're working together. Let's see what else we added here. The next thing I added was a piano, and of course, none of these are labeled properly. It's very important when you're producing a track that you not label your tracks so that later you get a little mystery to figure out. No, label your tracks. Don't be ridiculous. Let's hear that piano. You may be saying to yourself, well, Jimmy, I don't really hear that piano. That's the point, okay? The piano that I chose and the way that I play it expresses itself a little bit lower in the spectrum. So it's not poking itself out by playing tinkly high parts. Let's hear those two things together. It's a very felty, textural piano. Okay, that piano is called Coda by Native Instruments. I use that one a lot. It adds warmth. Some of the other stuff I added a different acoustic guitar panned all the way to the right, and that adds a slight stereo feeling to that acoustic guitar. And again, the one that's over here is not loud. It's just tapping on your eardrum and saying, hey, this acoustic guitar is wide. Same goes for, I added this nylon. Somebody gave me this really beautiful nylon guitar. It sounded like this. I'm going to solo it to you because I think it sounds so good. Just a beautiful sound. It's panned all the way over here, so a lot of these sounds are spread out. If you like the way these guitars sound, go over to my Patreon page. There's a video over there where I break down how to get sounds like this. Sounds that really require very little mixing when it comes time to mix your song. So let's listen to all of that together. Very cool. A lot of these elements, a lot of these textures are really pretty low in the mix. They have the feeling as almost, in terms of volume, sitting below the acoustic guitar. The idea is the sounds that you choose for your arrangement don't have to and shouldn't express themselves at the same volume as everything else. It's really easy, in other words, to be working on, let's say, an electric guitar that you think needs to go into your arrangement, and you spend 45 minutes with it, and you just can't get it to sit right. Now, that could mean that the thing that you're playing doesn't belong in the arrangement. But more often I find that it means that you just need to turn it down. So if you're ever struggling with a sound to get it to fit, but you still have the instinct that it belongs in the arrangement, but it's just not fitting, turn it down. Let it sit back and away from the central driving instruments in the mix. I can't tell you how long it took me to realize that. And when I finally did, it was like, oh yeah, the volume, the fader that goes up and down, that's mixing. And the most surefire way to get something to sit behind or inside of a piece of music is to turn it down and let it express itself a little farther back. If your arrangement already includes all the driving elements, this should be fairly easy to accomplish. So always keep that in mind if you're struggling with an arrangement. Let's go to the bridge. In terms of texture and ear candy, I find the bridge is often a really good candidate to be really heavy-handed, especially in cases like this tune where the bridge is a very bridgy bridge. It has that feeling of driving the emotion through a phase of change so that it can be shot out the other side into the final verse, and it's still interesting to listen to all the way through. So check the bridge out before I add those textures. Very nice. 90% done. We're not reinventing the wheel here, okay? The wheel has already been invented. A lot of the elements that I placed in this bridge are the same ones that I just used in the previous chorus, but there's some more in it, okay? So let's listen with everything that I added. Now it's starting to sound epic. One of my favorite sounds from this part is this dirty electric guitar and the clean electric guitar, which are mirroring what the bass is doing. So it's adding a lot of nice punch and weight to the arrangement by mirroring that walking part that's like kind of cycling upwards. It feels endlessly until it resolves at the end. Now listen to these electric guitar sounds. Now arguably those are very thin sounds when they're played on their own. But while I was adding them in, I felt the instinct to roll out a lot of those low mids from 300 kind of down, I would imagine. I can't remember exactly what I did to it, but I took the weight of those sounds down because the weight is already so well represented by other elements in the arrangement. So when they're all put together, they sound great and they sound exactly like they should, which means that at mixdown, I'm not going to have to wrangle these sounds and force them to fit together. And that's something to think about when you're arranging, is subtracting the parts of the sounds that are already represented, because they're already represented. You don't want to double up on a bunch of weighty, boxy sound that is not necessary to propel the arrangement forward in the way that it needs to move the listener. What else we got going on? The bass is walking there. There's a couple other elements that mirror that walk up there. A lot of these sounds are very simple parts, but they're just layered and stacked gradually until they come together to make a very satisfying whole. And that's possible because the core arrangement is already there. And it makes this part of producing music so incredibly rewarding and fun. Let's listen. So in summary, make sure that you have a cat inside of the studio. It's important to have one of these because they'll scratch at the door every 5 minutes and remind you that there is an outside world that depends on you. Love that cat. So in closing, listen to your instincts. If you're listening through your track and it's at the stage where it's about 90% done, and you have an instinct that something needs to go in this part to enhance the quality emotionally of this specific part of music, don't ignore it. The worst thing you could do is convince yourself that it's fine when your instinct is saying, no, this needs to be elevated. Especially if, you're still feeling that way come mixdown. Listen to your instincts, okay? Oftentimes, even very subtle additions to arrangements can make something sound like a finished record, okay? I hope this was helpful to you. So that's what I've been working on this week. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and hit the bell if you like what I'm doing with this channel. It does help the channel grow. If you want to go deeper with this stuff, if you want more, if you want to learn how to become a more capable, more nuanced producer, I encourage you to join my Patreon community today. My Patreon is the place where I'm sharing weekly exclusive content to help you become a more capable DIY producer, artist, songwriter, what have you. It's a community. It's people just like you. You get direct access to me, and I want to build a place where producers can connect. You know how it is. It's lonely, okay? We sit in these rooms and you know, every now and again we have a 2-comment exchange on YouTube, but hey man, let's connect, okay? If you want more, go to my Patreon. It's really affordable, and it helps support this channel as well, which is really, really good. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I hope that you are pursuing your art with gusto, breaking barriers, and I hope this stuff helps. Thank you so much. I love you, and I will see you next time.